Ashley Young of Kalamazoo, Michigan, was a woman who had her life on track. She was beloved by friends, had a good relationship with her family, and she was on a bright career path. In the fall of 2018, the 31-year-old was enrolled in college and was also working at a call center that was connected to a bank. She had previously been employed at a care home and was well known to be kind and thoughtful to everyone she met. November 29, 2018 was supposed to be an exciting day. Ashley was about to settle down in a brand new apartment, and that day she was supposed to meet up with her mother to co-sign the paperwork. However, what should have been a beautiful day of celebration ended up being the beginning of the worst nightmare imaginable for Ashley Young's family. On November 28, 2018, Christine Young, Ashley's mother, was already concerned. She had texted Ashley that evening and she hadn't heard back from her. While many people might be flaky when it comes to answering text messages, that wasn't Ashley. Christine knew that her daughter always responded within a day, so when that evening rolled into the next morning and she still hadn't heard from Ashley, Christine started to panic. She sent her daughter a text message that told her she was planning to call the police if she didn't hear back from her soon. While she was waiting to hear back from her daughter, Christine got in contact with the last person known to be seen with her, Jared Chance. Chance was someone that was a supposed friend of Ashley's, and the two of them had made plans to go out together in Grand Rapids on the evening of the 28th. When contacted by Christine, Chance suggested that he had just spoken to Ashley and all was well, but Christine immediately suspected that Chance wasn't being honest with her. At this point, Christine went to the police to file a missing persons report, but they refused to do anything because they insisted Ashley hadn't been missing long enough. So, Christine took matters into her own hands and drove to Grand Rapids. While it was clear that Chance was hiding something from Christine, he did share that he and Ashley had gone to Mulligan's Pub and Hookah Lounge in the East Town district the night before. So, Christine headed to Mulligan's to see if she could get any answers. At Mulligan's, the manager was able to show Christine a surveillance video. The footage confirmed that her daughter was indeed at the bar with Chance the night before, but the tape didn't offer any more clues as to Ashley's whereabouts. Much later on, a final surveillance video was uncovered of Ashley and Chance at a convenience store later that night. At this point, Christine was out of avenues to explore. She remained convinced that Chance knew where Ashley was, but he wasn't giving anything up, and at the time, the police weren't doing much to help the situation. A few days later, Chance's parents, James and Barbara Chance, along with his brother Conrad, arrived in Grand Rapids to drive Jared back to their home in Holland. Into the car, Chance brought an odd assortment of items along for the trip. A box that contained something in a black plastic bag and a mop, along with some other unidentified items. These items would prove to have great significance later in the investigation. However, it wasn't until a day after Chance arrived back in Holland that the case really took a turn for the horrific. Chance was the owner of a 2-unit rental back in Grand Rapids, and on December 2nd, police were contacted by the tenant from the lower apartment, Mario Nelson. Nelson had noticed the entire house was smelling strange, and so he had ventured into the basement to see if he could uncover the source of the odor. What he saw was disturbing enough that he made a call to the police department. Nelson had spotted a bloody tarp along with what appeared to be human flesh. When the police arrived, they lifted the tarp to see a truly horrific sight: a bloody torso sitting completely on its own. While they couldn't immediately confirm the torso belonged to Ashley, the gruesome discovery seemed to confirm the Young family's worst fears. After police found the torso, they arrested Chance and charged him with the mutilation of a dead body and concealing a death. They conducted a search of his home where they found arms and legs in a box that was sitting on the landing outside Chance's front door. On December 5th, the police conducted a search of Chance's parents' home in Holland and made another shocking discovery. Under his parents' living room couch, they found a skill-reciprocating saw that was covered in blood and human tissue. The saw was taken into evidence, and the case against Chance grows stronger. On December 7th, the Youngs get the worst news they will ever receive in their lives. The DNA test on the torso comes back positive for Ashley. While Ashley's family began the impossible task of trying to process this news, Chance's disturbed family life was being revealed. It turns out both of his parents had been aware of the fact that he had murdered and then dismembered Ashley, but had not bothered to mention it to the police. Chance and his father had even gone into a police department on December 2nd, but Chance's father insisted on an attorney, and the police didn't seem interested in questioning Chance in any great detail. It appears that he and the mystery box that he had brought into his parents' car were not of much interest. It was later revealed that the bag Chance had brought into his parents' car had contained some of Ashley's remains. On December 12th, Chance's parents, James and Barbara Chance, are both charged with perjury and being accessories after the fact. They had withheld their knowledge of Ashley's murder and had helped their son try to cover it up. An extra chilling element of this story is that James Chance is actually a retired police sergeant from Illinois. Given that he seems so unbothered by his son's crime, you can only wonder how he conducted himself when he himself was on the force. In January 2019, a probable cause affidavit was filed, and Chance was subsequently charged with open murder and 4 counts of tampering with evidence. The investigation into the crime revealed Chance's deranged personality. Multiple witnesses came forward to disclose upsetting behavior exhibited by the accused. Conrad Chance, Jared's brother, testified that in the days leading up to the murder, Jared had seemingly become obsessed with a .22 revolver, even emptying it of ammunition and aiming it at Conrad and then pulling the trigger several times. Chance's tenant, Mario Nelson, also testified and stated that he had had a conversation with Chance a few days before Ashley disappeared. They had been talking in Jared's kitchen, and Chance had repeatedly picked up and moved around his revolver, which made Nelson increasingly uncomfortable. During this bizarre encounter, Chance had also inexplicably told his neighbor that he knew how to murder someone and get away with it. Nelson had also testified that Chance had asked for his help getting into Young's car, which had been parked outside the house. While Ashley's head, hands, and feet have never been found, bullets for the .22 revolver were found near her torso. The conclusion was drawn that Chance shot Ashley in the head and then dismembered her after she died from the wound. An autopsy confirmed that she had not died from a drug overdose or natural causes, but without the rest of her body, a conclusive cause of death was not possible. Her death was ruled a homicide by unspecified means. It was also confirmed that the saw police found had been used to cut up her body after death. From this point on, the case moved quickly, at least as court cases go. Chance's probable cause hearing was immediately bound over to circuit court on all charges. The evidence was undeniable. Ashley's torso, limbs, and blood found at Chance's home, his odd behavior before and after her disappearance, all of this paired with a testimony from over 100 different witnesses were what ultimately sealed Chance's fate. On October 10, 2019, a jury found Chance guilty on several counts, including second-degree murder, and Judge Mark Trusock sentenced Chance to 100 to 200 years in prison with no chance of parole until he is 130 years old. When the sentencing was read, cheers of relief were cried out in the courtroom from Ashley's friends and family, who had been desperately seeking justice. Judge Trusock handed out a judgment fitting of the crime and even called Chance a very evil individual. In January 2021, an appeal court upheld Chance's sentences and conviction, which means he remains in prison. While the justice system doled out a reasonable punishment for such a heinous act, many questions remain unanswered. Why did he do it? There was never a solid explanation for why Jared Chance committed such an unthinkable crime. Had he been planning it? Was it always going to be Ashley, or was she just the unlucky person who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time? These are the questions that will likely never be answered, and Ashley's family will forever have to live wondering why such a bright, loving woman was taken from the world so soon. Another question that remains is why Chance's parents were so willing to cover for him. Yes, a parent's love can be unflinching, but honestly, concealing a murder is taking that unconditional love too far. Exactly how much they knew and when is still unknown, and the part they played only earned them a month in jail and a year of probation. Many felt their punishment for their part in the crime was inadequate. They didn't even have to serve their jail sentences at the same time. They were allowed staggered sentences so that one of them could always be at home to look after their other adult son. Ashley's family have never fully given up on the search for the rest of her remains. They hold out hope that they might someday recover her head, hands, and feet, so they can finally be able to put her to rest. Currently, all the family has is her ashes in a small box. The closest Christine Young can get to her daughter is now hugging that box. She brought the container of Ashley's ashes to court to demonstrate the impact Chance had on her family. Violent crimes rarely make sense. What happened to Ashley Young is unthinkable, and her family still struggles with the reality that she's gone every single day. Hopefully, the sentence Chance received was able to provide them with a sliver of closure. But nothing in this world will ever be able to bring back the ray of sunshine that was Ashley Young. Thanks for watching Beyond Crime. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support more true crime content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.